Hello and welcome to Balanced Existence. Today is day 8 out of our 31-day series that I am recording in December 2025, a video each day. But of course, whenever you're finding this, it's a timeless message, so I trust that there is some valuable insights and guidance for you if you are here. So as always, I'm starting with one oracle card and one astrology card, and then moving into the tarot. So the oracle card for today is change, and there is a moth on this card, or a butterfly. I actually can't tell from looking at the picture, but both represent transformation, so there could be some resonating symbology for you there. And the card says, you are transforming, let go of the past, embrace the light and joy of this new day. So, I'm just getting so much beautiful energy flooding through me right now. Spirit is also saying that this is coming from within. You really have raised your frequency and brought in the light. You've opened your heart and brought in, accepted in, welcomed in, allowed yourself to receive this light. And, we talk a lot about manifestation and our perspective on life and how we go through life and what choices in terms of like the feelings we choose to feel, the thoughts we choose to think. And you really are becoming more and more joy each day. Your essence is getting that much closer to pure joy and love and light every day. So, and then we have the air card for our astrology card. So this deck is planets, signs, and the 4 elements. So this is our first day out of the 31 days that we're getting an element card before it's all been planets and signs. So very interesting with the air. And of course, I'm hearing changes in the air. That's coming so clearly with the combination of these cards. And this is all about a change that's going to be able to be seen on the outside, in the external, as a result of the change that you have cultivated within. So the stronger that you can feel and tap into and be aware of your inner changes, the stronger you will get the external effects. So when you're reflecting on all the inner work you've done, really feel it, embody it, because it's not to be overlooked or glazed over. It's truly the creation power that is determining your reality. Every way that you have undergone some inner shift, as minor as it may be, has contributed to what your reality is about to become. It's like that. We talk a lot about the ripple effect of your work and how that goes out to the planet. But this is also the ripple effect of, again, every cellular change that you make down to the minute choices that you make in commitment to opening yourself to love and light and joy and surrendering to your path of self-transformation and self-growth and self-development. This is about that ripple effect from that internal level to what you will begin to see in your external situations, circumstances, the people that you attract. So wherever you are on this journey, just remember that how you feel, what you believe, what thoughts you choose, but especially how you feel in your heart and in your body, that is the juicy power we want to be working with. There's really nothing external to you that is going to change your life. And I say that as I'm creating this video to try to help people, but there's nothing externally, including tarot readings or meditations or subliminals. Those are tools, of course, but they're tools to help you get back inward. nothing will click, nothing will shift unless there is internal movement and changes. So, and I've talked a lot on this channel about, not utilizing the external content to soothe your ego, but to use it only as a tool and to spend as much time in your external world as you spend in your internal world. Especially for those of us who are empaths and who have felt sensitive or continue to feel sensitive and feel like maybe you feel burnout really easily, or maybe you feel extremely introverted, or like a homebody that just feels like they can't spend too much time out, with other people or with other energies, or you feel like you need to be in nature more, or at least that when you are in nature, you feel complete peace. If these are things that resonate with you, you're likely a sensitive soul. And so it's crucial that you take that time, the same amount of time that you take outward, processing things outward in, processing things through your mind, to take just as much time processing things inside out, tapping into your internal energy and learning to express it outwardly through your art, through your creative projects, through your voice, through physical movement. So, and tapping into the heart, right, as much as we tap into our mind. So that's my long tangent on change and working from the inside out. So I'm going to read the air card now. It says, crisp, ethereal, and decisive, the energy of air fuels the winds of truth and whispers grand insights. Clarity and truth are supported by rationality, reason, common sense, and logic. Air energy breaks stalemates and stagnation through wise decision-making and mutual understanding. Bring the quality of air to a situation by seeing things as clearly and objectively as possible. Focus on the facts and not the stories we like to attach to the facts. And focus on the truth, calm communication, comprehending the points of views of others, and promoting understanding of all sides. Okay, so I'm picking up on some communication coming in. I'm always very cautious not to just give premonitions on external circumstances, but take it as it resonates. Don't take it to soothe your ego. But this could be a communication or interaction with your divine counterpart. Maybe it's a twin flame in separation. A communication where perhaps this person is one that is operating more in the divine masculine, where they are using more logic and reason, which is what air is, of course, representing here. Whether they have air signs or however that resonates, in terms of their astrology. But they're somebody who is logic, and this may have been a duality that you struggled with in your interactions. You being heart-led and sensitive, and them being mind-led and rational and logic, almost even for some of the collective to the point of blocking out love. And so with the air card reminding us to, it's kind of like being able to, of course, lead with our heart, but also tap into our mind, and not to villainize the mind, right? Or even villainize the ego. I mean, this is all part of the human experience, is the brains we have and the ways that we process things logically. But perhaps maybe needing to meet them from a standpoint of more logic so that it will resonate with them and allow you to connect. And that doesn't mean to, dim your heart's light or anything like that. But, when it comes to being able to reach, a point of clarity, to seek truth, seeing both sides of the story and being able to communicate and really embody an understanding of, the other person's perspective. Having that energy is always going to benefit us when it's in balance with, of course, the other energies like water, fire, earth, right? So, okay, let's dive into the tarot. We have the Strength. Oh my gosh, we've been getting this card so many times. This is at least the third or maybe even fourth time. And the Fool we're getting, which we did get once before. Interesting. Okay, and we also have the Queen of Pentacles. So, yeah, Spirit is reminding you once again, because I swear I shuffle the cards every time. So I just think it's so like on point when a card continues to come out in multiple readings, like one after another. It's like Spirit is like really trying to reiterate this card. So with the Strength, of course, this is not about like brute force or overpowering. This is about that kind of gentle and graceful empowerment. And this is coming up so much because as you're about to undergo these changes, Spirit is reminding you, reading after reading after reading, that you have the strength. Like, it can't be interpreted any other way. Like, it's like Spirit wants to remind you of how strong you are and how far you've come and how resilient you are now and how skilled you are. And just how full of love and light you are. You really do have the strength to move forward through the changes that are about to come in. And with the Fool, also these cards combined with the Air, there's like this level of kind of flexibility of the air sign. And I mean, the Fool and the Change card, I mean, come on, this is like completely from one timeline to the next. And yeah, I mean, with the Strength card, it's like you're trusting yourself. The Strength and the Fool together, you're trusting yourself to take that next step forward, stepping into the unknown. And an interesting balance here between the Fool and the Air. The Air card was talking about approaching things with logic, whereas the Fool kind of is like a heart-led stepping without knowing what's going to happen, right? Taking that risk, taking that leap. And so there, of course, is this balance between the heart and the leaps of faith and the mind, the mind and logic aspects of what the air element represents. But it is a very light and positive energy, and knowing that you have the strength to go forward, knowing that you have the strength and the skill set to balance your heart and balance your mind, and knowing that you can discern with such a strong intuition and inner knowing which to lead with in any given moment. And with the Queen of Pentacles, I mean, it's just such grounded energy. With the Queen of Pentacles and the Strength together, I mean, that's a power reading right there. I mean, just feeling like anchored and embodied. And even if you have a moment of not feeling anchored or feeling that kind of inner chaos or, those triggers that we feel in our body, even if you have moments like that, knowing that you have the tools, you have the skill set to nurture it and respond to it and, do that somatic work and do that breathing and that meditation and bring yourself back to a place of truth and light and love. It's just such a beautiful combination of energy here. And so I want to pull a few more cards here. We've got the Hierophant, the Ten of Wands, and the Hermit. Yeah, we also recently got, I think we recently got the Queen of Pentacles too, But we definitely recently got the Hierophant and the Ten of Wands. I feel like we've gotten that one a few times. So, and then in combination with the Hermit, I mean, it's so clear here. I mean, the Hierophant is all about your spiritual journey, who you seek guidance from, which can take discernment. There's a lot of tools and resources out there, and, you know, with each one, you have to use your inner knowing to feel what resonates, right? And so the Hierophant with the Ten of Wands, which I think this exact combination has come up before, actually. And it's about potentially feeling overburdened by the spiritual journey, by, you know, trying to figure out what your beliefs are, what your core values are, what traditions you want to follow, what institutions you want to be a part of, and things like that. So with the Ten of Wands, it can feel like a very burdening, high pressure, or kind of like a high stakes endeavor. And so with the Hermit, as well as the Hierophant, it's this reminder that you can always go back inward, right? Like, you know, the Hermit represents a time of isolation and, you know, time to yourself to seek clarity, a withdrawal, you know, from the outer world to, you know, quiet the noise and reflect and obtain that wisdom that you need. And so whether you're retreating from society or whether you're kind of just withdrawing inward to yourself to get to know yourself, the Hermit is such a crucial part of our process that we're always going to be able to come back to, especially if you're an empath, a sensitive, and you, like I said before, you find yourself being pulled to be kind of a homebody or introverted. I mean, that's always going to be something that you have the right to do. You have the power to do. And so with the Hierophant as well, I mean, this is like, even through the burdens and exhaustions of the Ten of Wands, it's about being committed to your beliefs, to your daily practices, your routines, your rituals that resonate with you. Because both the Hierophant and the Hermit is all about accessing that deeper truth, right? Like that sacred knowledge. Because the whole point here is we want a higher understanding of things. Of course, we want to raise our frequency. We want to expand our consciousness. We want to expand our ability to feel love. And it can feel like, because it's such a never-ending journey, that the responsibility can feel really heavy. And especially if you feel isolated or you feel like you don't have people in your life that you can be fully yourself with, or who will fully understand your journey, that can be a very isolating experience. And that's what I hope through this community I can build, a space where it's just pure openness towards one another, regardless of literally anything, but just a pure collective union where we recognize that we're all extensions of the same source energy. It doesn't matter religion, it doesn't matter whatever, right? And so, of course, the spiritual journey can be very isolating, very difficult to do alone, to not have somebody to, you know, be able to confide in or connect with in this facet of life. But even in those moments, asking yourself, what is true for me? You know, what do I believe? Like, what do I need right now? That is always valuable, and that will always keep your momentum on this journey. And again, this is not to kind of undermine or underestimate the difficulty of the isolating aspect of this journey. It's just a reminder that you're on the right path and you have the power you have the power that you need all within you, even when it feels isolating. And of course, we don't want to stay in a place of isolation because, we know that the benefits of having community and friendships and oxytocin and, having hugs and things like that. Of course, that's just a fact of the human experience. But you do have the answers you seek. You do have all of the power you need to alchemize your loneliness or isolation into connection and community. So, wow, very powerful reading. I want to pull one oracle card to finish us off from Nature's Whispers. We have Higher Ground. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is number 20. It says, move your thoughts, emotions, and outlook to a new perspective. Take an overview of what is going on. Just through shifting your perspective, you will see the whole situation in a clearer light. A different course may become apparent. You will be able to focus on what is most important to you. Make a conscious effort to get above the situation. If there is nothing present in your life at the moment, consider something that may be unresolved from the past. Use the same idea of climbing above it with the intention of healing it. Once you achieve the higher ground perspective, you may find yourself filled with peace, a beautiful outcome. Wow, okay, so a few things are coming through to me right now. One is when it's talking about moving your thoughts, emotions, and outlook to a new perspective. Of course, this is a theme I've been talking a lot about, your perspective being, what dictates your reality. And being able to look at the scenario and, kind of shine the spotlight on your perspective itself. It's kind of like being the observer rather than kind of being in that ego, being in the chair of the ego and seeing things from the ego. It's like it will always benefit you to take that observer position, to zoom out, to take a higher outlook, an overview on your scenario. And especially with the air card having come up as the overarching theme of this reading, and the aspect of air element that is about logic and truth and clarity. I mean, this is what we're talking about here, right? You've got the love and light in your heart. Of course, we're not neglecting our heart, but we also want to have that awareness of our perspective as we seek kind of higher perspectives. And so this is what allows us to focus and know and obtain that truth and clarity of what is important to us. What are my beliefs? What are my values? What do I need right now? What is true for me? This is the true, pure transformation of self. The transformation from being disconnected with yourself to full knowing of yourself and your needs. So I hope that this is making sense, but I mean, this is really about kind of allowing your mind to be a part of your journey as well. We talk about ego death, we talk about ego degradation, we talk about putting more energy into your heart, focusing on bringing light and love into your heart. And of course, that is a critical part of the journey. But the air sign is coming in and reminding us that as we undergo these changes, especially changes in our external world, which is often very much, run in these masculine energies of logic and reason, whether it's just the world at large or whether it's you with your divine counterpart that may be a predominantly divine masculine. It's like, are we able to now go out into the world and use our mind, use our thoughts, use our communication, our clarity, our truth that we went inward and worked so hard to find? Are we able to go out into the world and convey our heart, convey our love through our mind and our voice and our communication. That is the sacred union of the heart and the mind, right? The feminine, masculine, of course, not gender corresponding necessarily. These are all energies we have, and that's that union with the self. And this is the reason when we talk about ego degradation or ego death and union with self, we pair those terms together as crucial phases on this journey, because, especially if you're on the twin flame journey, I mean, this is the actual purpose of the twin flame journey. But even if you don't identify as that, this is likely something you're going through if you're listening to this right here and right now. But because most people in this world are, including us, before this huge pivotal transformation we've been doing, most people in the world are a servant to their ego. And we all have, of course, moments like this. It's not to say that this collective is like above the rest of the world, but if you're listening to this, you're definitely more aware and you've made intentional steps on this journey, whereas the overall rest of the world is not fully aware of these concepts yet. But because most of us are living in a world that is ego run and dominated by egoic perspectives and concepts, it is necessary to kind of tame the ego and I'm hearing dial the knob down, right? And that's why the term ego death is a little bit misleading, because you are a human being and you're going to have an ego, right? So it's not about killing the ego such that it never comes back. You have to have an ego to function in the world, to be able to have a name, to be able to identify as a sovereign being in a human body, right? If you didn't have your ego, you would just be one with everything, but that's not the truth of being in your own body, right? We come to this earth to experience that duality. But so that's why ego degradation is the first step, because as you kind of degrade, quote unquote, the ego, or you turn the knob down, you dial it down, you lower the volume of your ego, at the same time you're committing to filling your heart with love. Now your heart actually, the dial turns up and the heart is in the driver's seat. And that is how they should be a pair, right? Your heart is kind of driving the ship, and the ego is there to help filter, and exist in society through your heart-led dreams, desires, beliefs, actions. So yeah, I think that this card, Higher Ground, is just such a beautiful summary of the efforts we make, the value of our perspective and our mind and our, commitment to viewing things with the logic and rationality that we need to, while the heart is the underlying intention behind everything. And so this is why, the card is talking about getting above the situation, right? It's that divine union with the heart and the mind that allows you to see things with the ultimate clarity, the ultimate truth. So this is how we're getting peace. This is how we are progressing on our spiritual journey. It's so beautiful. It's so significant. It's so meaningful. And your role in this journey is so valuable for the rest of the planet. So as you're doing this inner work at the innermost level, down to the minute details, in ways that you might feel like it doesn't matter, it does. The ripple effect is so strong, and you are part of it. So Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to leave the reading here. Be sure to, of course, comment anything that resonates and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for the rest of the series. And I will see you back tomorrow with day 9. Bye.